What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Uncle Fred back in the house with another video. It's Thursday evening, Friday morning. I guess it's late. Give me some of the latest news in the NFL as it pertains to Uncle Fred. Go ahead and hit that like, comment, and subscribe. Become a part of the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. I promise you, I guarantee you that you will not be disappointed. All right, let's get into this thing. I want you to know that in the part of the country I'm living in right now, man, the weather is something crazy, man. You go from Saturday night having alarms going off, tornado warnings in the area and damage and stuff in the area due to tornadoes. Okay, and you have to wake up to that on Sunday morning. And then on Sunday night, winter storm warnings in effect. And we wake up Monday morning to like 6.5 inches of snow. Yeah, the apocalypse is upon us, man. Because I've never heard having tornadoes one day and 6 inches of snow the next day, especially in this part of the country. So where snow is a luxury. It's not, it's not something we get all the time. But anyway, moving on. So we go on to the NFL news of the day. Of course, what's going to be the top of the charts? Of course, you guessed it, Antonio Brown. Look, I know I may have rubbed some feathers the wrong way on some of my stuff yesterday, and I apologize if I did, but I feel what I feel. I feel like Antonio Brown's antics come at the feet of some things that were missing in his early years, missing some sort of parental guidance, most notably probably some male involvement, and I feel strongly about that. And sometimes situations where little boys and the woman she's just not capable of looking of handling that, because but not in all cases, in just certain cases that may have been something that it could have been helped him to a certain degree. And who knows, maybe not, because sometimes there's some people that can't be reached. We hate to say that, makes it look like people are lost causes, and you never want to think any individual, any human being is a lost cause can't be reached. But anyhow, but the saga continues today as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers officially released Antonio Brown. Now, it was speculated that they would maybe drag their feet on releasing him, drag this thing on out for the simple reason that hopefully they would do this and maybe so that nobody else could get him. Like maybe the Dallas Cowboys, because that would be just like Jerry Jones to go do that, And so no, they didn't want to have somebody pick him up and then him be. And I don't know if he'd be available to play right away anyway, because sometimes once you a certain point of the season, I don't think you can just join another team, just like that. I don't think so. But anyway, so it's more to the story today. So now there's some situations where Antonio Brown, and we know the story, threw his helmet off, took off his shoulder pads, his shirt, all of his wristbands and all that stuff, threw them up in the stands, ran off the field, and just his bottoms and his cleats, and waved at the crowd, did some jumping jacks, waved it, and ran off. So now we're seeing today that he's trying to insinuate today that he had supposedly had some understanding that he had been injured and that they was looking at that, and maybe maybe he wouldn't play, but then they decided that he would play. And so supposedly he, over the course of the weeks leading up to the game, he was supposedly sent to have some second opinions on his ankle. Supposedly there was some bone fragments in his ankle, and some of the ligaments was torn off or something like that. And Apparently, he said that they, instead of them doing it, they sent him to some junior doctor, but he wanted a second opinion. Now, Tampa officials from Tampa Bay Buccaneers saying they had made appointments. They scheduled appointments with him to go to this specialist in New York to have him look at it and have MRIs and check all that stuff out. But he never went to those appointments. And now, if you remember, now he got suspended for 3 games. He's really, and then he was injured. Some other, I think it had been a knee injury or something earlier in the season. So he's missed about 8 games. And then he missed the 3 games due to the fake vaccination card debacle. And then and then his first game back was against, I believe it was Carolina. And he was targeted 15 times, caught 10 passes for 101 yards. And so there seems to be some back and forth on this because, see, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers seems to be saying that, he knew he was supposed to play and he wanted to play. And that, and they're saying, he's saying that he felt too injured to play and didn't want to go in. But they're saying that he wanted to play. But then, when the halftime came and he'd only gotten like 4 or 5 targets, he was despondent on the sidelines and was like, when he was asked to go in with the personnel grouping that included him, was asked to go in there. Now, remember, they're in the game, they're trailing 24-14 to the New York Jets. And it's like, early in the 3rd quarter. And supposedly, according to Bruce Arians, it was said by him that I ain't getting the ball. Because apparently Rob Gronkowski was getting a bunch of targets on Sunday when they was playing the Jets. So, and then if you remember, the Steelers, the situation with AB never came to the surface, never rose to the levels where it was problematic until like 2017, I think, when or was it 2018? It was one that I sort of researched that. It was one of those years where Juju Smith-Schuster was getting more targets. And the thing that gets me about that is that you understand in a football game, what a defense is going to do, they're going to take away your first primary option, especially if you're playing somebody like the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick ain't going to let your main option beat him. He's going to make you play left-handed. So what are most teams going to do? They're going to double AB and leave Juju Smith-Schuster with one-on-one coverage. And if he beat us, fine. But we darn sure ain't going to let you beat us, okay? But supposedly he wasn't getting targets, okay? And he had a conniption with Ben Roethlisberger and supposedly at practice threw the ball at him and some other stuff went down. And then I think the next week, and then remember it was a game against the Baltimore Ravens in 2018 where he wasn't getting the targets or something, and he threw the water cooler onto the field. And the next week he got like 15, 16 targets. So he found out if he threw his weight around, he'd get his way. And see, that's the thing. A lot of times these people are enablers. But see, the Pittsburgh Steelers are kind of trying to win football games. Okay? So, and just like Mike Tomlin said after the Facebook Live today, he's like, now I could go ahead and suspend him, but that would be punishing us because we'd be going up against the New England Patriots without our best player. That would be punishing us. So the Steelers are like, well, I mean, they were like, yeah, I mean, we don't want him, moping around. Yeah, we're going to get him target, keep him happy, so he'll keep producing. I read you the numbers yesterday. He has 6 consecutive seasons of 100-yard seasons. Nobody's ever done that. 6 consecutive seasons, okay? From like 2013 to 2018. He had 100 catches in every season. And so, so it's a bunch of he say. And I know I was listening. I listened to a lot of things. I was listening to Skip and Shannon today, and I know Shannon Sharp is talking about this drug called Toradol. He said now most times now AB is kind of, and if AB did this, he's completely the opposite of most NFL players, because most NFL players you got to almost strap them down to keep them from going in the game. because they want to go in the game. Because when they go in the game, especially as somebody AB, he's got certain targets he's got to get, and he's also got milestones to reach certain incentives in his contract. So, and I think it was also specified said that he had asked earlier in the week or last week whether they could go ahead and guarantee the $2 million on his contract to make it fully guaranteed. They would not, which means he had to get like 28 targets or 28 catches over the next 2 games. Which it would take some doing to get that, but it could be done. So anyway, and I know if you saw it just like I did, and it didn't look like his ankle was doing all that, having all that much issues to me. When you run it, jogging across the field, and you doing all this stuff, you basically dancing and stuff. There's no limp or gimp or anything of that going on with you and stuff. So anyway, man, so the saga continued. Bruce Arians says this. Now, apparently Bruce Arians may have changed his story once or twice. So there is something there. But I will say that Bruce Arians never have seemed like one of those guys that would do a player like wrong. He always seemed like he would always do whatever the players ask. He runs a loose ship, and that's one of the things I thought maybe was one of the detriments to Antonio Brown, because Bruce Arians runs such a loose ship. I would thought he'd be better served playing in Foxborough for Belichick, where hey, everybody knows the rules, everybody follows the rules. You break the rules, you out of here. And I think he needs that kind of thing. And then it's interesting that as soon as and if you notice last year, AB, I think he caught like 45 passes last year. I mean, he wasn't dominant. I mean, he had some good moments, but they had other guys. And so he was really just one of the guys. So they had Chris Godwin, they had Mike Evans. Both those are Pro Bowl receivers. Gronkowski, Rob Gronkowski, is recognized as the greatest tight end that's ever played. He may be just a little past his prime, but he's a viable target. Then they got Scotty Miller and some other guys, Tyler Johnson, and so a bunch of other guys. So he was basically just one of the guys, one of the options, So and he really didn't kick up much dust. But then as this year progressed and the attrition piled up, they started losing guys. They started losing Fournette. They lost Mike Evans for a couple of games due to some hamstring. Then they lost Chris Godwin to an ACL against the New Orleans Saints. That was one of those 3 games that AB was out. So now it's a situation where they need AB, because remember, Bruce Arians last year says he does one thing, he's out of here. Then we had the situation happen with the fake vaccination card, and everybody was like, okay, he should be out of here. Because a lot of people say, he's gone now. But then Bruce Arians retracted himself and said, no, he was a good citizen last year, and he sort of have given me a little more give me a little more faith in him. And so we're going to just, we're going to go ahead. He said, yeah, but what about you saying what you said? What do you think would say to those people who, when you said, if he makes one mess up, he's out? He said, I don't give a F what y'all think. This is what we're doing. I care about what's going on this football team. So when AB does this to them, now they look stupid. Okay. It's kind of like a situation like if a woman is in a relationship with a bad guy. Either he's a chronic womanizer or he puts his hands on it, and all her friends are basically telling her, look, you need to leave this dude. You need to leave him. I mean, it could be the other way around too. The guy's got a girl that's not no good for him, but he likes us, he loves her, and he don't want to leave her, or whatever the case might be. So it's situation could be the same. And finally, he said, look, if she mess up or he messed up one more, they're out of here. And the next thing you know, they messed up. And you're thinking, man, yeah, she's going to kick him to the curb. And she's like, well, no, he did some nice things for me. And we talked about it. And, we decided we're going to, but you just told us one moment thing, he was out. She said, I don't care about that. It's about me and him now. And then he goes off and does his thing, beats her down one more time, puts her in the hospital. Now she looks stupid. Or he goes off with some other woman and get some other woman pregnant or something. Now she looks stupid because you said that you was at the end of the rope, but then you put some more on it, tightened it up, and pulled some more rope down for him. So it's the same thing with AB. So they look bad for doing this. And remember, I said some of the things that went on in his life early is to blame. We're to blame as fans because we deify these athletes. And then I also said that we and so in the social media space, the things that we endorse and we like and because I like likes too in the platform I'm on. I'm hey, I want y'all to like. That means I'm doing something worthwhile, but I'm not gonna do nothing crazy to get no likes. I'm not gonna do the damn podcast with no clothes on to get likes. I'm not gonna knock somebody in the head to get likes. I'm just gonna talk my sports, and hopefully it's something that you like. And if I get likes, but it's America's need to watch the train wreck, and that's the thing that bothers me so much about our society. We love the train wreck, and there's always people willing to wreck a train and film it for you to see, and for you to like, and for you to key about it, and this sort of thing. And so, as long as there's a what do you call it, a market for the train wreck, AB gonna always have followers. As long as he has followers and do that, he's never gonna be any better than he is right now. So we'll keep an eye on that as it goes on, and we'll see what happens with it. And hey, but I think this is gonna be around for a while because he's got lawyers involved, and I think he's gonna file some sort of grievance with the NFL Players Association. Trying to say that they tried to make him play when he was notably injured. Now, normally when a player is injured on the sideline, he meets with the trainers and the staff and go into the little tent and they do some things. Then if they can't do it here, they accompany them to the locker room. That's how that things work. That's the procedure how those things are done. Okay. Now, we'll play devil's advocate here. Let's say that he maybe was a little injured or something was a little wrong. Now, my thing is, and somebody mentioned it today. I can't remember what show it was, and I was like, yeah, that's the point. They said that I think it might have been Joy Taylor. She said everybody in life is where you work, your bosses are the people you work for, you report to. At least once a day, once a week, are going to say something or try to make you do something that you don't want to do. Okay, but you don't get up and throw your stuff and walk out and toss your desk over and walk out. You just don't do that. That's not the way to handle it. So I think I was talking to my son today about that, and he was saying because he's younger, so he kind of looks at it a little differently than I do. He still thought that was dumb that he did that. But he was saying that, hey, if somebody did something to you or trying to make you do something, I said, yeah, but I mean, you're going to have some things at work and the boss might ask you to do, but you can't go burn the building down because they did that. That's not reasonable to think that. But see, that all goes back to nobody set limits for him way back here. Because if you did, you understand respect for other folks' stuff, their time, their efforts. Because, look, man, Tom Brady and Bruce, they poured a lot into him. Okay. They risked a lot of, and I heard one show that was talking about that what did they lose? They won a Super Bowl and they got, whatever. They were just wrong about it. They didn't lose anything. I'm like, no, but they lost faith. And so, because I always have said, if you put your neck on the line for somebody in a situation like this, sometimes it's with people with drugs and some other things. You put and they do you in. Now you'll just go over and say, well, whatever. I know that not to do that again. But the thing is, your faith is hurt because now somebody else with the same thing, you won't help them. Maybe it's possible. You might not want to help them because of that, what happened to you in that particular time. So Bruce and Tom might not want to help the next guy with an issue similar to AB because they got burnt once, So I mean, there's always somebody that gets, it happens to get hurt and or damaged as a result of that. Because the thing was, they said, well, nobody got hurt. It's like he physically hurt nobody or nothing. I mean, they just found out that they couldn't trust him, and they move on. I'm like, yeah, but what if a situation with another player that has some come up and they're like, no, remember what happened to AB? We can't trust him. And this guy, maybe Josh, what's the receiver's name? I think Seattle had Josh Brown. God, I can't think of his name. It'll come to me in a minute. What if he comes to them and after he leaves the Seahawks or whatever, because he's going to break down the team. Pete Carroll's leaving. Probably Russell Wilson leaving. They may just do a complete rebuild. They may just put him on waivers. Like, look, man, we're going a new direction. And he might think about going to Tampa Bay and playing with Tom Brady because he's played with Tom Brady before. And he went to New England, but he had a setback. Maybe because of how bad AB did, he don't get the dance. So that's all I'm saying. That but anyway, so we'll just keep an eye on that story and we'll see what's going on with that. Now, another story that we'll talk about today, I thought was rather interesting. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers. He has his Green Bay Packers atop the NFC with a 13-3 record, a wonderful season. Most people's odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. Okay. But we know the things that was going on in the off season with him going back and forth with Green Bay's management, and then with finally making them do some things, wanting to get Gutekunst fired and Mark Murphy maybe fired or reassigned. He wanted to show them he had pull in the thing because they shouldn't have never drafted Jordan Love. And I'm still not with that because the team has the right to draft who the heck they want to draft because they always got to have an eye for 4 or 5 years down the road. They can't just be consumed with what's going on today. They always have to be thinking about the future, the next guy to succeed this guy and getting him ready for when he decides to hang it up. All organizations do that. Okay. So, maybe they should have mentioned it to him. Maybe I'll give them that. But I mean, dude, and I think they want to say, well, he's going to make them trade him now. I'm like, dude, you're 37, 38 years old. You may have 3 seasons left. They ain't finna trade no young quarterback that could be, a good, viable guy going forward. And so then the whole I'm immunized situation, and then come to find out when he ended up getting COVID, he wasn't vaccinated. And so that's all this thing. So there was a situation today, or it may have been yesterday, where this reporter who spoke to about Aaron Rodgers, and his name is Hub Arkush, and I think his name is Herb, but they call him Hub Arkush. Okay, and he said some kind of inflammatory things. And most notably now, he is a MVP voter. Okay, and so he had some things to say about Aaron Rodgers. So what did he say? He says his problem is, and I'm gonna tell you who this guy is and where he's from, and I'm gonna tell you what Aaron Rodgers said, and then I'm gonna give you my take on both of their things because I got a take on both of them. He goes on to say his problem isn't with me being. Oh, excuse me, that's what Aaron Rodgers said. I'm trying to forget what the reporter said. I want to get to that. I think I might have pulled up the wrong story. Give me just a quick second. Here we go. No, that's the guy's bio. I don't want that. Let me get this right here. I think it's right here. Okay. Here we go. Right here. Okay. All right. So he basically said he wouldn't vote for Aaron Rodgers because his off the field reasons. He says he called Rodgers a bad guy and the biggest jerk in the league, and I wouldn't vote for him. And he said because he's unvaccinated, he carries himself like a total jerk, and all the offseason he held Green Bay Packers at bay all season, and that's just not actions or attitudes that an MVP should undertake, should be. So he said this. So let me give you some background on who this dude was, because of course now Aaron Rodgers says this is what Aaron Rodgers says. I think he's a bum. So that was his take. I think he's an absolute bum. He don't know me. He doesn't know. I don't know who he is. Nobody even knew who he was until yesterday when he made these comments. I listened to his comments, but to say he had his mind made up in the summertime and in the off season, and that I have zero chance of winning the MVP, in my opinion, should exclude future votes. His problem isn't with me at being a bad guy or the biggest jerk in the league, because he doesn't know me, doesn't know me, doesn't know anything about me, never met him, I never talked to him, never went to lunch with him, never had an interview with him. His problem is that I'm not vaccinated. And he goes on to say that maybe he should go on a crusade to change the designation of the award and add a letter to it to be the most valuable vaccinated player. And then, and then the MVP. Then so you have two different awards, So that was his retort to the thing. He's a bum. He don't know me. He's just saying stuff and whatnot. And he went on and on and on about it. That really got him really stirred up. Let me give you some history on who this Herb Arkish is. Because your Uncle Fred, he don't look up and research stuff. I ain't gonna just be talking outside of my head. Now, you didn't think I wasn't gonna do my research, did you? You didn't think that, right? So Herb Arkish, he's an American football sportscaster and analyst. He is the editor and general manager of a thing called Chicago Football and ChicagoFootball.com. Now I'll tell you about those in a minute. He's also the general manager of he's also the managing editor of a publication called Football Weekly. Yeah, Football Weekly. This thing not all the stuff I had laid out here. I'm not finding where it was at now. But anyway, Chicago. He in 2013, Arkish up with Shaw Media to lead the Chicago Football Project. Chicago Football is a magazine, website, and TV show dedicated to the coverage of the Bears, other football topics relevant to the Northern Illinois area sports. He created and co-hosted the syndicated Pro Football Weekly. That's what it is. I can't see. Pro Football Weekly is a weekly radio and TV show. He also works as a radio commentator on the Chicago Bears radio network from 1987 to 2004. Since 2006, he's also served as an analyst and sideline reporter for Westwood One. It's a big publication agency there. Westwood One national radio broadcast of NFL games. He's also a contributor to WBBM Radio and WBBM TV as an NFL insider. He is a regular fill-in host and contributor for the sports radio station and WBBM sister station WSCR. Okay, so this guy has been a journalist, a broadcaster, a publisher of a magazine, TV show, and sports shows for the Chicago area for over 30 years. He started in 87, so we're talking about like 35 years. So, okay, so he's not just some hack. Okay. All right. So now you get the backdrop. Okay. Because that Chicago and Green Bay do not like each other. And what's odd is, Green Bay and Chicago ain't but like 80 miles apart. You know that? Just like Cleveland and Pittsburgh ain't but about 80 miles apart. But whatever. Yeah, two different. There's two different states in both things, but they're arch enemies. And remember when Aaron Rodgers scored that touchdown and ran up the tunnel at Soldier Field. Remember what he said? I own you. I effing own you. Yeah, he said that. And the Chicago area sports writers and guys like this, oh yeah, they seen that. And they said, okay, we're gonna get your Okay. Yeah, they saw that. So here's my problem. I got a problem with both of them. And I'm gonna tell you what my problems is with both of them. And we're gonna move on to the next topic. Now, my problem with Herb Askish, what is his damn name? Arkish. Herbert Arkish. They call him Hub. Okay. My problem with him is you can't let your personal vendettas or your personal thing influence your decisions on things that that you're supposed to be objective on. Okay. So that's like, if I'm a referee and I'm from, Wisconsin, and I'm reffing the Chicago Bulls game, yeah, I'm gonna call some fouls on Zach Levine that ain't there because I want them to lose because I hate Chicago and I'm from Wisconsin. Okay. You ain't supposed to do that. Okay. If it's voiced that you have some sort of bias, that I'm with Aaron on that. That might automatically discredit you. Okay. Of course, I do give him credit for being up front, telling him how you feel. But it's this thing about voting. That's why it's a secret ballot. That's why when we vote for our president and our elected officials and senators, governors, and whatever, we go into the booth and we mark that form. And nobody got to know who we voted for. We can act as surprised as everybody else if somebody got elected, knowing that we voted for them. Oh man, I can't believe it. Knowing you voted for him or her or whatever the case might be. Because it's a secret ballot. And so, yeah, I got issues with that because you can have all those feelings you want. Just vote what you vote. Nobody got to know it. It's better to be thought of as a fool and be speculative than open your mouth and leave no doubt. And he opened his mouth. Or better to be thought of as being opinionated or being biased and be thought of that way, or to open your mouth and voice it and leave no doubt. That's what this guy did. Okay. He let it be known how bad a person he thought Aaron Rodgers was and all this kind of stuff. And he says that I'm not going to vote for him. Okay. At least he's out front with it. But no, I have a problem with that because you can feel that way. And I can't fault nobody for feeling how they feel. But when you put that on paper and you put that in the whatchamacallit space, you put that out there, then that's a problem. Because now they got to look at these things. Because I know Aaron Rodgers had said the other day he thought it should never even be sports writers. It should be the players. But players got biases too. There's players that other players don't like, and I ain't voting for him to get no in the Pro Bowl. Well, I don't like him. I ain't voting for him to get no MVP. Okay. Now, my problem with Aaron Rodgers is I think he doth protest much too much. Shakespeare. Well, first, I think he protests too much. What do I mean by that? I'm thinking like, dude, it's an individual award. I'm not saying nobody cares, but you getting bent all out of shape on an individual award. Like that means more to you than life itself. If it was me, I'm like, look, man, that guy got his opinion. It's gonna be whatever it be. I ain't sweating it. It's gonna be what it be. I got bigger fish to fry. We try to get ready for this last game, and we get ready for the playoffs. We got more things to work. Okay, but he was going on and on, called the guy bum, did all this stuff, and went all around. I wouldn't have gave it that much energy unless the individual awards are that important to you. See, because that's my issue with Aaron Rodgers, because of all the great stats he has, and everybody, he's the greatest thrower of football in the history of the NFL. And I'm like, yeah, and he's had good teams, but he's 1-4 in the NFC Championship game. He's only been to one Super Bowl. It'd be different because they used to dog Peyton Manning. Peyton was my guy. There's the dog Peyton Manning, but I was like, well, at least Peyton Manning went to a couple of Super Bowls, went to 3 or 4, and that sort of thing. But no, he ain't been to another one in 11 years, 12 years, And I say, it's a crying shame. Tom Brady got as many NFC Championship wins, as he do. He just got there, Yeah, you done come up short way too many times to be as good as folks think you are. And for me, for you to be that bent out of shape about an individual award, now if there's somebody had said, look, man, I'm looking at the NFC, and I think Green Bay is kind of good, but I think they fugazi. I think they're not as good as folks think they are, and I think they're gonna get beat in this playoff, and I'm picking against them. Now, that should have got him bent out of shape. Because, hey, the main goal is to be the last one standing at the end of this thing. That's the goal, I thought. But maybe it's to stack up a bunch of trophies, a bunch of individual trophies, MVPs and stuff like that. Because that seems like that means a lot to him, So anyhow, there's that. So there's that thing that went back and forth with that. So and I knew, and he should have known that when he did what he did in the offseason, and then he came out with that stinker in that first game, threw 2 picks, 1 pick 6, and threw for like 110 yards and 2 interceptions and whatnot, and against New Orleans. Folks is gonna be at him, and then he did this thing in the midseason about the fact that he knew that he was gonna lose some points for that. He knew he had to ball out, and ball out he did. Okay, he has done that. Okay. But he knew he was going to get flack for that. And the fact that he think that he wasn't, are you naive? You was going to get some flack for that. So that leads us to our next topic. So who is the MVP? Is it Rodgers? And I took the liberty, and I probably should have looked up some other things. But, sometimes I don't think of things till I'm on the air. And I said, dang, why not think to look that up? Okay. But here we go. Let's see. Here it is. No. It's right here somewhere. Yeah, here we go. Right here. Who's the MVP? Okay. Is it Aaron Rodgers? Or is it Tom Brady? Okay. Or is it somebody else? Let's look at the candidates here and look at their stats, and let's see what we're talking about here. Now, the one thing I will say about Aaron Rodgers, and I think it's the most mind-boggling thing that there is, and I do sometimes when I'm watching the game, and he's got Devontae Adams, he's like between 2 guys, and I'm like, Aaron, you finna throw that, and he'll drop that thing right out the sky, right between the 2 guys, right, and if Devontae Adams' eyes was closed, he could catch it because he'd have to. It falls right in the crook of his arm while he's running, and I'm like, dang, he got that thing in there, But you got to deal with all the other stuff with Aaron, because Aaron's a bunch of work. Aaron's high maintenance, You know how Uncle Fred feel about a high maintenance. I don't want no high maintenance car, no high maintenance woman, no high maintenance employees. I don't want none of that. I want easy. Just I want everything, and I guess I want everything easy, like. What is that? Staples, and hit the easy button. Yeah, I want everything easy. I don't want high maintenance and stuff. I don't like high maintenance people. I like guys that get stuff done. I don't hear about them. I don't want to, you bemoaning every little detail and whatever. I don't hear it. But here's the stats this year. And Tom Brady's played all 16 games thus far played. Aaron Rodgers has played 15 because he got the CV. And CV-19, and then he had to miss a game. Okay, he missed a game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, but it didn't really hurt them because they still the number 1 seed. They still got that up like they had last year locked up. Okay, So let's look at the stats here. Aaron Rodgers has played in 15 games, 352 completions, 68.6% completion percentage. Pretty darn good. 3,977 yards, and like I said, in 15 games. So it's a game short. So you put in another 250 or 300 yards on that, and it'd be like over 4,200 yards he would have so far. And he's got 35 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Don't that seem just ridiculous? Because even you look at his stats, he's got like 447 touchdowns and like 93 interceptions in like 16 years of quarterbacking. You ain't got 100 interceptions and you got over 400 touchdown passes. That's crazy. That is freaking crazy. So those are his stats, and he got 35 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and average passing per game 265.1. He's been sacked 27 times, and those are the stats. So he got on right at 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Not quite 48-4 what he had last year, in 4,200 yards, 4,400 yards, whatever he had last. Wasn't quite what he had last year. Okay, but still, I think that's him. I think if I had a vote, it would be him. Even though I got problems with him, I ain't gonna be like that voter. I'm not gonna be like Herb Arkish. I'm not gonna be like him. Okay, I issue with him, but to play on the field to me is like, dude, he that guy. All right. Tom Brady though, up until the New Orleans game, it probably was gonna be him. If you look at his stats, 16 games, 66.9% completion percentage, a little bit less than Rodgers. 4,990 yards. So he's about to have a 5,000 yard season. Okay. I think this will be his second. He had one back in 2007 when he had Randy Moss. I think he threw for over 5,000 yards that time and 50 touchdowns. He's got 40 touchdown passes, which that means makes him have back-to-back 40 touchdown seasons. So he's got 40 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. So he has a significant amount more interceptions than Aaron Rodgers. 12, to 4. And a matter of fact, Aaron Rodgers ain't got 12 interceptions. If you go back 3 years, he don't have 12. I think he had like 2 interceptions the year before that. I think he had 2 interceptions, and he had 4 interceptions and 4 interceptions. That's 8. That's 10. He had 10 interceptions in 3 years. What are you gonna do with that, man? And then he's led the team to have the best record in the NFL. Like I said, he's been sacked 27 times, lost 180 yards, and he's got a .08 interception rate. Longest completion was 75 yards then his Brady. Brady is going to throw for an NFL best ever. He's going to throw 700 passes this season. Nobody in the history of the NFL, not Peyton Manning, not Dan Fouts, not Dan Marino, any of those guys that threw the ball a lot of times, none of those guys have a 700 throw season. Okay. But it was that game against New Orleans where he got shut out and he threw 2 interceptions and threw for like 140 yards and was like completely inept. Yeah, that's the game that he knew it. That's why he had his conniption that he had through the tablet and told Dennis Allen to go F himself. Come on, Tom. You better than that, bro. You better than that. But anyhow, those are the guys. Now, what do y'all think? Do y'all should be one of those 2 guys, or could it be Jonathan Taylor? Now, I don't know Jonathan Taylor's exact stats off the top of my head, but I think it's in the neighborhood of like 1,750 yards and got like 20 touchdowns, 19 touchdowns. So that's what he's got. He's a candidate, but they lost last week, and I think he had like 20 carries for like 108 yards or something like that, but no touchdowns. They played the Raiders and lost, so they're like 8-9-6. Yeah, 9-7. So, he's kind of having to overcome and drag around Carson Wentz, So you got him, and then you got Cooper Kupp. You know my man Cooper Kupp. Y'all know I got something for Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp got like 138 catches for like 1,821 yards and like 16 touchdowns. Okay, so I mean, I think Cooper Kupp, and I always said that if Cooper Kupp get the 150, 2,000 marker, he's a triple crown winner, and I think Moss is the last guy to get the triple crown. Catches, yards, and touchdowns. NFL leader, triple crown. Would they give it to him? So he only had like 6 catches for 92 yards last week, which is a down week for him. But most receivers will take that every day. But anyhow, so those, to me, those are the 4 candidates for MVP. You got Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Jonathan Taylor, and Cooper Kupp. Those would be my 4. And I guess I would have to go with Aaron Rodgers. But I'm telling you, Jonathan Taylor, if they had won more games, I think I would go with him. But then Cooper Kupp, they got like the second best record in the AFC. I think they're 11-4, 12-4, or something like that. And so he's had a crazy. So really, those would be my 3 candidates. So what do y'all think? But that's just what Uncle Fred think. So anywho, moving on from there. And since we're talking about quarterbacks, some other things we're going to talk about today is the Mayfield. Baker Mayfield this year, I pulled his stats up too, man. Your Uncle Fred don't leave nothing to chance, man. Ain't leaving nothing to chance. I'm going to try to, get all the info that I can about, things and people and stuff like that. So I took the liberty of pulling up all of Baker Mayfield's stats, and this year, he's thrown for, he's having a bad year this year. I think he's got 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. I think he's thrown for like 3,070 yards. He's played 14 games, 3,010 yards, 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. 60.53% completion percentage, which is, back in the day that was good, but they've scaled down the defenses and everything. You can't hit the receivers past 5 yards, and everything's a personal foul and all that. So it's easier to complete passes now. Holding is called more often now, so you don't get, so yeah, getting 60% is really like the bottom of the barrel. You really should be 65, 66%. But he had a bad season this year. I mean, the game against Green Bay, if he had just a basic run-the-mill game, they beat Green Bay. They only lost by 2. I think it was 24-22, and he threw a game-sealing interception. He had 4 in that game. Now, a couple of them was pass interference. It wasn't called. But the last one was that he just threw it out there, man. And they really should have been running the ball because Nick Chubb and them was running the ball down Green broke, him and Dearness Johnson, they was running it down Green Bay's throat. Like he had like 4 carries for like 60 yards, and I think he had like 120 or 30 yards on like 20 carries. I mean, run the ball. Yeah, you got to get a field goal, just, to win the game, but they put it in Baker's hand and he crapped out on him. But so here's the thing, because a lot of the talking heads been talking about, should Cleveland move on from Baker Mayfield? Because they did pick up his 5th-year option and didn't go ahead and give him a contract extension. Basically, let him play out his 5th year on his rookie contract, just to see, because it's a chance for them to look and see what he can do, and if they want to give him the big money. Now, because he's gonna want Dak Prescott money, he's gonna want Patrick Mahomes money, he's gonna want Josh Allen money. He's going to want some of that kind of money. Kirk Cousins money. He's going to want some of that kind of money. But has he really earned that kind of money? Now, I know he's a decent quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I think he's decent. But those games I see when the running game is shut down and that team has a roster. Now, when OBJ was there, you had OBJ, you had Donovan Peoples-Jones, You got Landry. I can't remember his name, his full name, but you got Landry. So you got all those guys, and then you got tight end Joku, and so you got all the all these weapons and the best offensive line in the business. And then when you see in the game where they got to score and whatnot, they always lose those games. And Baker always comes up short. They was with Kansas City. They needed, if he gets getting down the field and get a touchdown, they win that game. Second pass he throws, it gets picked. Game over. Against Green Bay, got a chance to win that. Throws a pick. Game over. And then this game they played Monday night against the Steelers, and Ben's hurrah. Bad quarterbacking in that play, but you know what? I feel I'm happy for Ben. Ben went out like he should have went out as a winner. That was a Najee Harris game. I think he had like 28 carries, like 188 yards, and a touchdown. Best game of his career. There's well over 1,200 yards this year. Good for that kid. But Ben was like 23 for 46 for like 123 yards, and I think Baker was like 20 for like 38 for like 160 yards and one touchdown, 2 interceptions, and got sacked 9 times. And we know he's got the little shoulder thing going on and whatnot. So question is, and so they that loss basically most unequivocally pushed them out of the playoffs. So they have no reason to play him for this coming Sunday when they play Cincinnati. And Joe Burrow's not going to play either. Okay, so we found that out too. They're going to rest him because they've already sealed up the AFC Central or North or whatever. So Baker's not playing that last game, and then he's going to have surgery immediately. I think he's already had surgery to repair all this stuff going on in his left shoulder. He's right-handed. It's his left shoulder. Okay, he hurt that shoulder, I think, week 3 when he's playing the Houston Texans, when he threw a pick and tried to square up that safety and hurt his shoulder like he a linebacker. And then sometimes that little extra stuff that he be doing get him in trouble. That mouth, and he talks crazy to folks. And there was so that was a reporter that was talking about some stuff, and he basically called her something. What did he call her? I can't remember what he called her, but it was unbecoming. You just gotta, sometimes you don't have to. Something Colin Cowherd said, dude, you ain't gotta win every verbal. Sometimes you can just take the high road. You know what, man? That's the opinion, man. I got bigger fish to fry, man. But no, he can't let nothing slide. I gotta go. I gotta get back. I gotta clap back at everything somebody says. Now, I think that whole attitude with him is the reason why he's not more successful than he is. So I took the liberty of going back and looking at his career stats. And so in his career, he's come in the league in 2018. That was his first year. And it's 18, 19, 20, and 21. Okay. Do you know since he's come in the league in 18? Well, let me just read you his stats here. Okay. Let me just read them to you. Okay, here we go. All right. In his 4 complete seasons, it's 18, 19. I'll run them down to you year by year. In 2018, he threw for 3,725 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. That's the year that they brought him in after Tyrod Taylor got hurt against the Jets. He went in and he was just spectacular. Got them just under, getting to the playoffs after winning just one game the year before. That's how they was able to get him. Is the number 1 pick. So that's what he did. 27 touchdowns. He's a 63, almost 64% completion percentage. 2018, okay. 2019, that's the year they end up getting OBJ. And so it's like, yeah, they ready now. They got all this stuff, and they added OBJ. Yeah, he finna take off. They Super Bowl contender. And his completion percentage scooted down to 59.36% completion percentage. That's not good. In today's day and age, you can't complete less than 60% of your passes. You just can't. 3,827 yards, 22 touchdowns, 21 interceptions. Is that a good touchdown-interception ratio? Okay. You see how Aaron Rodgers got 35 and 4, 22 to 21. Okay. And I'm going to give you some comparative stats to another contemporary quarterbacks like in the same rent district that he's in, and kind of show you how the difference in the two. Okay. And so in 2020, which is last year, which they did go to the playoffs, and his completion percentage was 62.7, still not as good as his rookie year. 3,563 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That's not bad. That'll cook. Okay. 26 and 8, 62.76, 35.63. That's not too bad. Played 16 games. Yeah, that'll work. So you made the playoffs. So everybody was like, man, they could make the Super Bowl this year, because they gave Kansas City a run for their money last year in the divisional round. Okay, won a playoff game. So this year he's got so in 21, 21. I already told you 60.53, 30, 10, 17, and 13. His 4-year totals, he is thrown for 14,125 yards, 92 touchdowns, but 56 interceptions in 4 years. That's average almost 15 interceptions a year. Not good. Not good. Not good. Okay. As a matter of fact, in the 4 years he's been in the NFL, nobody's thrown more interceptions than him. Okay. So you got that. So let me give you an example. Let me give you a comp. Let me give you a comp to him. And I'm gonna give you my man Rain Dakota Prescott. I'm gonna give you his stats. And I'm just going to use the 4 years that he was in the league, and the 4 years comparable to his 4 years. And so I'm going to go with the 4 years. The Dak has 18, 19, 20, and 21. Now, granted, he only played 5 games in 2020 because of the knee injury and whatever. So you have to factor that in. But in the 4 years, in those 4 years, Dak Prescott has 93 touchdown passes, which is one more than he has, okay, and 30 interceptions in 4 years. So that's an average of about 8 interceptions a year, So it's like 23 touchdowns and like 7 interceptions, 8 interceptions. Okay, see the difference, in the same 4 years. And for his career, he's 138 touchdowns and 50 interceptions in 6 years. Okay, 50 interceptions in 6 years. So it's letting you know there's less than 10 interceptions. So he's averaging about 8, 9 interceptions a year, which that's pretty good. It's pretty good. That's a good quarterback. That's good quarterback. And Dak is throwing 66.5% completion percentage for a career. That's good quarterbacking. 66.5 and 21,000, right under 22,000 yards and 138 touchdowns and 50 interceptions in 6 years. Not bad at all. So those are the comps that you need to be trying to reach when you're trying to get the contract to Dak. Now I was saying I thought Dak signed for a little more than he probably should have signed, but look, man, I ain't mad. If the check clears, I'm good with it. But the question to be asked, what should Cleveland do? They got this good roster, and they've been racked by COVID and things like that. But they got good offensive line, good defenders, Jadeveon Clowney, Myles Garrett, and they got some good secondary. Denzel Ward in the secondary, John Johnson, Greg Newsome. They got some great players. Matt Wilson, a linebacker, Grant Delpit. They got some good guys, guys that can play, So, but you got the quarterback that's really, and they're at the point of no return this year. If he, if Baker, and what people are hoping who are Baker fans, like he goes on, get this shoulder cleared out, get cleaned out, and maybe he, tears it up next year. Who knows? Maybe he does. And then that maybe they'll be compelled again. But to me, he's got to throw, 30 touchdowns, maybe 8, 9 interceptions. He's got to throw for 3,700 yards or more. And he's got to lead them into the playoffs. He's got to win these 11 games and win a playoff game or two before I'm even willing to, break that kind of bread with him. That's just Uncle Fred's opinion. And then hey, we can start over. We can go get one of these free agents somewhere. This contract is up and see where it goes. But I know under some circumstances, if he turned in another season like this one we got this year, and everybody won't make the injuries. Okay, we'll see. We'll get the injuries cleared up and we'll see. But still, since he ain't have injuries all the other year, he's still throwing for more interceptions than anybody else in the 4 years he's been in the NFL. So I can't work with that. Okay. So that's that with that. So that's been a topic of discussion and stuff. So my last thing I'm gonna talk about today is and I thought about, as the season went today, and I saw the game on Sunday, and the Cowboys lost to the Arizona Cardinals. Feeling bad about my Cowboys. They got guys that's on COVID, and a couple of them, I heard Micah Parsons is one, and I heard about Tyron Smith, and I'm like, dang, man, the team having a rough go of it. And you know what they always say, when you think you got it bad, you think of somebody else. Dang, you say you worried about your feet hurting, and you see somebody that ain't got no feet, or you worried about your legs and see somebody walking don't got no legs. That's the kind of thing. And so I thought about the Washington football team. The Washington football team has had a year this year that I would think that, man, maybe they ought to just regret. Should have just 2021 should just be erase because they probably had the worst year I think a franchise has ever had since I've been watching football. Let me chronicle what I'm talking about. So already they had the ongoing investigation through workplace misconduct with the stuff with the cheerleaders and then the front office and Dan Snyder and Bruce Allen and with the women in the front office and the stuff and the cheerleaders and the topless stuff. There's investigations going on with that. And then before that could even get started and get dealt with, bam! In October, they get the feds raid him because I think his name is Ryan Vermillion, who's the trainer. He got caught up in a PED scandal, and the players couldn't even report to the facility because the feds was raiding the place. And so you had that going on, and then you had two situations in the football FedEx field where. There was, I think it was the first game of the season versus the Los Angeles Chargers, and there was water falling into the stands. And it turns out that and the people in the stand said it was sewage, because you know what sewage smells like. But the Washington football team spoke. No, not sewage. It's rainwater that's washing off. Like, dude, I know what rainwater smells like. And I know what sewage smells like. Dude, this ain't no daggum rainwater. But okay, fine. Okay. Then Monday Night Football, about a month and a half later, when they played the Seahawks, another downpour in the stadium. And same thing. They said, man, it smells like sewage. There's footage of that on YouTube. You can pull it up on yourself for YouTube. It's on there. Washington football team spokesman came. Oh, no. It's the sprinkler systems that got to activate. That's what it is. It's not sewage. It's not pipes. It's the sprinklers. People sitting there like, dude, we know what the heck that is, right? Now, sandwiched in between those events, because that's kind of the beginning of the season, is two regrettable situations. First thing with a safety that plays for them, whose name is DeShazor Everett, who was driving and had a young lady, Olivia, I think her name was Olivia. God, I can't read my own writing. Cannot read my own writing. But anyway, I think her name is Olivia Peters. I finally can see it. longtime girlfriend. They were coming from a dinner. Him and Justin Davis, and I can't think what the other guy's name. They were reserved. They were coming from dinner. Him and his girlfriend and two friends were on a team. They were coming from dinner. They were in Loudoun County, and supposedly he ran, skidded off the road and rolled down an embankment. And the young lady that was riding with him was thrown from the vehicle and killed. And DeShazer was seriously injured. He was taken to the hospital. Of course, he's been, since that point, put on injured reserve. And then about 4 days after that, right before the end of the year, defensive end Montez Sweat's brother was killed in Henrico County, which is right outside Richmond, Virginia. Got shot and killed. I think it was like the 27th or 28th of December. About 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 911 reports called of shots fired, and they found him dead. And so they pretty much let him be excused and to go and take care of his family and that sort of stuff. So yeah, that was like back-to-back weeks. And then the week after that, they had a rash of COVID, CV-19, what we're gonna say, with like 22 players. With that, it ended up being about 8-9 coaches. So they had about 30 COVID cases. And on top of that, they had about 4 players of significant players with season-ending injuries. Logan Thomas, Landon Collins, and what's the running back's name? I can't think of his name. The little scat back, number 25. I can't think of his name, man. But they all got season-ending injuries. And then right after that, they get embarrassed on national TV by my Dallas Cowboys, 56-14. That was an embarrassment. That was an embarrassment. Okay. Now that's bad enough. Last Sunday, playing the Philadelphia Eagles, which the game they was winning and lost. It's like the game they played, the game that they had the COVID cases about a month ago that they had to move to Monday night. I think it was, moved it to Monday night. Or was it Tuesday? I think they moved that on a Tuesday night. Remember, they was winning that game, and the Eagles came back and won it late. And the same thing with the game Sunday. They was winning it, and they came back, because that kind of put them out of their playoff misery. They're essentially out of the playoff picture now. So the game's over with, and Jalen Hurts, my man Jalen Hurts, Roll Tide, quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, was walking off the field to a section of the stadium where where some Philadelphia Eagles fans were, and he went over there to dap them up or whatever. And so the fans was reaching over to high five him and stuff. And I mean, if the railing don't fall and the people fall off onto the ground, some 6, 7, 8 feet down from below. Are you freaking kidding me? First, you got sewage that happened 2 times. Oh no, it's sprinkler systems and it's rainwater. Right. I'm sorry. And then you got the daggum railings falling off, and then they try to, of course, you got the cleanup crew to come by. No. What it is, that's a section of that's a non-load bearing road, because that's where that seating is only for like 4 people who are handicap accessible, and it's only for 4 people who are wheelchairs and 4 people to walk those folks. That's the only people they're supposed to be over there. It's not for general city seating. Okay, whatever you want to say. I know it ain't supposed to be able to, if a couple of people reach over it ain't supposed to fall over with them if it's professional grade. Okay. Now, and I almost forgot about a month ago when they played my Cowboys up in FedEx Field. The Cowboys and folks thought they were, a little arrogant in doing so. They brought their own benches, own Cowboys benches over there. And the reason they did wasn't because they wanted to, style out in their stadium. He said no, because the benches on the visitors benches are rickety, and the equipment, the headphones, the different things, none of this stuff works. It's so I went back and looked. That stadium was built in 1997, so it's, what is it, 24 years old maybe? Yeah, something like that, 24, 25 years old. Not exactly a relic, but it seems like more things happen in that stadium than any other stadium, as far as like maintenance and breakdowns of different things. So you couple that with all the other things. this is a season that the Washington football team would want to just take the eraser, some white out, and just say, all right, we start over. Okay. But there is some good news. They've got it narrowed down to who they're going to be named, because they're not going to go with the Washington football team forever. So 2/22/22, or February 22nd, they go with a new name. And it had been pared down to like 4. It was supposed to be the Brigade, Armada, the Presidents, or the Red Hogs. But then I heard the other day that another name came out of. I thought it would be the Red Wolves, but they said it was some sort of copyright issue that made it where they couldn't name it the Red Wolf, because there's a red wolf that's indigenous to the Virginia, Maryland area in the area, and so that's would be something they could put a little red, and they wouldn't even have to change the color scheme or anything. Just have a little red outline of a wolf with his mouth open and But I think they're going to go with the Washington Admirals. That's what I think they're going to go with. And matter of fact, if you go and type in Washington Admirals, the Washington football team, it links to the Washington football team. So it would not surprise me if on 2/22/22 that the Washington football team comes up with that name. It's going to be the name that they go with. So there you have it. So that's the light at the end of the tunnel for the Washington football team, and a team that probably can't wait for this season to be over with. Okay, prayers go to you, but y'all are my arch enemy, so couldn't have happened to a better team. All right, but that's all I got from the desk of Uncle Fred. A few NFL insights and things that I thought was newsworthy in the NFL this week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification buzzer so you'll know every time Uncle Fred drops something. You'll know when I do. But that's all I got. You guys have a great rest of your week. And I hope in your new year is starting off pretty good. We'll see y'all in a couple of days.